Welcome to Potential Unlocked, a Stacked coaching podcast. On today's episode, we have with us pastry chef and business owner, Greer Gilchrist. In today's episode, Greer discusses that while she takes care of everyone else when it comes to food, why it was so difficult for her to take care of her own nutrition, which led to her outsourcing her nutrition to Stack. If you're looking for nutrition coaching, check out www.stackcoaching.com or check us out on Instagram at Stacked Coaching. Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Potential Unlocked, a Stacked coaching podcast. I am here with one of my clients, Greer Gilchrist. Greer you're a pastry chef, right, Greer?
Yeah.
Yeah, you own
Yeah.
a bakery in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Can you tell us the name of it?
I have 2 of them. One of them is called the Harbinger Cafe and Bakery, and the other one is called Harkin Cafe and Bakery.
Wow.
Um,
How did you get into that?
oh, how, like, short should I make this? You want, like
I, whatever you think.
well, I have always loved food. My entire my oldest memories are of food. Everything about food, eating it, reading about it, touching it, seeing it, cooking it, making it, every aspect. And just along the way, it just seemed to be the thing that I was best at and the thing that I would hopefully be able to make a career out of. And then, long story short, after working in a bajillion places and traveling and eating and cooking for my whole life, I met my business partner, and her family's from Charleston, so we moved down here and we opened up the bakeries. That's real short.
You opened both at the same time?
No, definitely not. The Harbinger, she'll be 5 soon, in June. We opened her in 2017, and then 3 months into the Harbinger being opened, our landlords at Harkin approached us, and I had like an aneurysm because my business partner, she does all like the admin side, and I'm like, the physical, the presence, the making everything, the working, the bajillion, you know, F&B hours.
Right.
And she's like, let's open up another one. Luckily, it took a really, really long time because it's in historical Charleston, so it was pretty hard actually to get it open. Um, and we opened Harkin in 2019, 2 months before the pandemic.
Wow.
Yeah,
True.
yeah, everything came through. We had like a hurricane and then the pandemic.
Oof, woof. I feel you there. I mean, we shut our gym down for like 100 and something days. It was wild.
Ugh.
So
Yeah, Jim's had it really, really bad.
yeah. Now, Greer, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on to the podcast, okay, and basically I wanted to record a check-in. Now, you and I normally check in on Fridays, um, but you're super busy. You're a
Here we
business
are.
owner. I'm a business owner. Here we are at 9:30 p.m. ch- chatting it up. Kids are already asleep. You've had a tough day at work. So what I find is super interesting is if someone was to look at you, okay, you look athletic, you are lean, you look like you have it going on, and here you are, a nutrition client with me. So like, what made you want to enter into nutrition coaching with Stack?
um, so many things. But like mainly, I just needed to take it off my plate. Mesa was just telling me about it, and I was like, and her goals were so different than mine 'cause she's like this superstar athlete. But I was just like, oh my God, that sounds so great that somebody else is telling you what to do and what to worry about. And I can just like Listen, it's like why when I discovered CrossFit, I loved CrossFit so much because I was like, "Oh my god, for a whole hour, somebody else tells me what to do, how to do it better, to move faster, like all of these things." It's so great. It's like totally off my plate. And that's how I felt about this. I don't want to think about I love food, but sometimes it's just exhausting to think about how to feed yourself in the right way. Because of course I could eat everything. Um, but like to feed yourself in a way that takes care of you.
Ah, I love the way you
Yeah.
said that. Yeah. So
Um,
when you started though, like your goals, they were different. I mean, some it was performance, right? You said
yeah.
you said you did want to, I guess, be more toned, like have more muscle definition.
Yeah, also that. I mean, I joined my CrossFit gym almost 4 years ago, and when people ask me that, I'm kind of embarrassed because 'cause I'm like, "I should be so much better at CrossFit."
What CrossFit gym do you go to?
Rhapsody, it's where I met Mesa, actually.
Mhm. Rhapsody, you said?
Yeah, in Charleston, and I love them. Now I've been to a whole medley of CrossFit gyms, and they're still my favorite. But yeah, and uh, you know, sometimes you see people that work out all the time. Like this is how I felt, and I was like, I feel like it doesn't even look like. I mean, you like kill yourself in class. And it's like, what am I doing this for? It's like not just to have a healthy heart.
Right.
you
No.
know?
Yeah, I always tell people, like, when I ask them to close their eyes and, what their goal is, they're like, "Oh, I wanna be healthier and feel better." I'm like, "Yeah, we all do, right?" But come on, let's be real.
Yeah, like what does it really mean?
Yeah, like,
My dogs might start going crazy.
no, that's alright. If you're busting it, like, 6 hours a week in a CrossFit gym with high intensity exercise, you wanna do it, right?
Yes, and it's like, why am I sitting here doing 100 burpees? I wanted to be doing this for a reason.
And it's not to win the CrossFit Games.
No, no, it's definitely not. I'm gonna get my headphones though because I have 2 giant pits and they're about to play.
That's alright, we'll probably not
So
edit this out, we'll just have fun with it.
I can just sense their chaos.
Okay.
Okay, this will be better.
Yeah, perfect.
Great.
So, Greer, like, before you started and then, like, your first couple weeks, with the program you've been with us 8 weeks, is that right?
Yeah, I can't even believe that. I keep on being like, I just started with a nutritionist and it's been 2
Right.
months.
How have things changed for you in those 2 months, though? Like, let's start with mentally, like, how you think about food. How has that changed?
Well, I'm so much calmer about it. Um, because if like you don't know about food, if you don't know what you're supposed to eat, then you can go down all these rabbit holes about what to eat, and it would stress me out, and I would spend like precious mental energy trying to think about what to eat. So to not have to worry about that makes me so much calmer. Like to just sort of understand what I'm supposed to be doing, it makes me calmer.
Yeah, and
Um,
for the record, like, we don't tell you, like, what food to eat. We tell you,
oh
like,
no,
which
yeah, that would stress me
macronutrients you should
out.
eat in terms of how to, like, reach your goals.
Yes, definitely, and because that would really stress me out. Yeah, that's a good thing to specify. If you told me what to eat, I would, like, really have a hard time with this.
Just
But
like
breaking it down into, like, at first, you were like, "Just eat protein," because I eat 0 protein, and that was so helpful just to, like, know what to focus on.
yeah, yeah. So we've also seen a lot of gains over the past 8 weeks in the gym. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's really exciting. It's just fun to feel strong, um, and to like try for heavier weights and then to see myself accomplishing it. And I'm like always texting Mesa, like, this is what I did today.
For those
and
of for those of you who haven't listened before, Mesa's been on the podcast a bunch of times. Mesa runs personal programming for Stack. She has her own company called In the Box PT. Um, she is our movement guru and workout with Greer. So that's the connection there for everybody who is listening at home.
Yes, sorry, she's one of my good friends. Um, but yeah, it just feels really good to, because like I think it was last week when I was visiting my grandma and I was just like so sluggish, and we did Murph, and I did such a bad job. It just felt terrible, and it just like doesn't feel good to not feel like you're moving well or like you're feeling strong. So it's really exciting to me when I go to the gym to feel like I can be strong and I can be improving in certain ways.
Oh, that's tremendous. Now, the other thing we talked about is emotionally. Uh,
Yeah.
talk about before you ever started with Stack, your emotional connection to food. Like, where was it? How did you feel about it? Those types of things.
Yeah. Like with me personally, like my emotional relationship with food professionally is so different.
Right. Yeah. Personally, not professionally.
Yeah. Just like so just like very confused, very conflicted, very stressed. Um yeah, like I just feel like it was just like chaos in my head. Like like what do I eat? How much do I eat? Is this healthy? Is this not healthy? Um it just stressed me out to try to feed myself. So then I just wouldn't. I would just not eat. Um which is, also really stressful.
Right.
um yeah, just mostly a lot of stress with feeding myself and taking care of myself.
Um, Now you said it differs from professionally, and I'm just curious, like how would you describe your professional relationship with food?
Yeah, professionally it's so different. I feel like it's so nurturing and calm and intuitive and loving. Like I put out all this food into the world for our customers, and it's a lot. It's like incredibly thoughtful and it's thoughtfully sourced and it supports our community and it's very lots of produce and different grains and like really nourishing because I want everyone to feel good when they eat and I want them to feel special. I want them to feel a lot of positivity from the food that they consume. And it even for our staff, like their staff meal is very important and I make them take it and sit down and have a quiet moment. It is very nurturing and thoughtful and caring. Which is why I said it's so different than like me personally.
You know, what's interesting though is that you just said that the way you think about it when you create it for others, and even your staff meal, how you want them to sit down and have a quiet moment with that, like that is one of our core habits with Stacked, right? Eating slowly and undistracted, and it's
Yeah.
and it's interesting how like you want to provide that experience for your staff, and you always have. Yet, you were having a tough time doing that with yourself. Like how you ate lunch, and you didn't want to, it was on the go or quick, right?
Yeah. I know I have a lot of guilt around it. Like I feel guilty even sometimes now. Like if I go to blend up my little protein smoothie, I feel guilty getting in their way, like taking a literal minute to do something for myself. Um, and I obviously still feel the guilt, but I at least still do it and eat and sit down and take a moment.
Yeah.
um,
Do you find that as this process has kind of changed, you know, physically, mentally, emotionally with food, and do you feel like it's kind of de-stressed that at all for you?
um, yeah, definitely. Um, because I also communicate with my staff and I'd be like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. I'm doing this." And they're all like, "No, eat. Like you need to eat." like so I think it does sort of it's like slowly getting me there.
Yeah,
um,
it's like I always say it's like that metaphor of when you're in a plane, right? And they always tell you, like, if the cabin loses pressure, to put your mask on before you help someone else. Like, we need to take care
Yeah.
of ourselves in order to best take care of other people. And I think
Yeah.
so often we forget that as business owners, as parents, friends, lovers, whatever, like we so often forget that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll literally never do that. Yeah. I mean, I guess I identify so much as a caretaker, um, and I just don't put it on myself at all. Which is why I was like, I need to outsource and have
Right?
somebody like tell me how to take care of myself.
Yeah. I mean, you've been doing a tremendous job. And like one of the things that I love is how much time and effort you put into filling out your tracker. Because you give me so
Yeah.
many notes. I love it. I mean, you probably tell I read them all. Um, uh, and so, like for you, what is like what has been your biggest win so far over 8 weeks?
Um, I think just feeling calm. Um, I think like working with sleep was really helpful. Oh, know what it is? It's like definitely just energy. I was so lethargic, and you were just like, you work out so much, and I did. And I thought it was normal, and you were like, and you don't really eat anything. So of course you're really tired. So focusing on my sleep, working out less, which is still kind of hard for me, but I do it. And then like eating, you know, focusing on what to eat.
Yeah,
Um,
for a lot of people,
energy.
like they don't consider that. Like if we consider our body as like a gas tank, right?
Mhm,
And every time we work out, it's like hitting the gas pedal, like we're burning fuel.
mhm,
If we're not, filling up the tank often enough, we're going to run out of gas, and it is
mhm.
certainly going to affect the performance of our body, right? Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So
It,
how was it? Like, how did you find your overall performance in the gym? Like, what was the effect when you started taking more rest?
oh, I feel so much better. Like my body feels better. Movements feel better. I'm like excited. I'm more excited to be there and to like, try harder in the workouts. It's like I'm respecting my body more too. And it even changed with yoga because I love yoga. But now I like only go to yin yoga, or like today I did go to a power class because it was the only one, but I didn't do anything. I like stayed in child's pose the whole time. The teacher was even like, "Are you okay?" And I was like,
I'm
"I'm
chilling.
fine. I'm just hanging out in class today." But
Yeah.
I would have like killed myself before. I would have like done every pose she had told me to, and now I was like, "No, I just need my body to relax."
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So we recently started counting our macros,
Hmm.
and you had a little bit of hesitation.
Yeah, I'm so nervous.
Can you talk about why? Would that be okay?
Yeah, definitely, because I realized that there was a specific reason. And now my phone is on low battery, so I'm just
Okay.
gonna plug it in. So many things. um, I was afraid initially just because diets scare me.
Mhm.
Hold on. And I know this wasn't a diet, but I was afraid about it. And then I think like the specifics of it because okay, because watching the videos, because you were like, "Watch all the videos." And I was like, "I'm gonna watch all the videos."
Hey, congrats. You're one of
Watching,
the
like,
people who watch
onions
all
be
the videos.
measured.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, now I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Did I mute you? Yeah, I muted you.
There you go.
There we go.
All right. So you're saying watching the videos freaked you out.
Um, Watching the onions get measured, I was like, "This is too intense for me." Like, I'm afraid, you know I don't know, it just, like, made me feel, like, almost obsessive.
Mhm.
And I can be so obsessive sometimes, so it made me nervous. But then like downloading the app and actually doing it made me feel so much more comfortable. My dog.
So I that's curious. Like I'm super curious about that. What about like going through the process put you at ease?
Seeing it more, and I was talking to Mace about this, seeing it more like data, I guess. Like you just input it. I'm just like, okay, this is what I'm eating. And then it's like, this is how much protein you've had, or this is how much of this. Um, I don't know. Again, it was like somebody else doing the thinking for me. So then I could just be like, now I know I still need to eat this much protein or something. Like it's so matter of fact. I think it took the emotions out of it for me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are afraid of like tracking macros or weighing their food because they look at it as like, all right, A, it's a ton of work. It is, right? Like I'm not gonna lie
Mhm.
about that. It's a lot of extra work. Once you do it for a while, it just becomes habit. It's like part of cooking, and it's not a big deal. But then they can
Which
see
is
it as
why
like,
I think, sorry, we're so crazy.
that's funny. That's why you think what?
I'm gonna relocate us again. I'm sorry, Bradley.
No, it's
I
cool.
wasn't
This is fun.
I wasn't totally prepared for this, obviously.
No,
I'm
it's all
locking
good.
them in my room. um, that's why I like that you said that we could just try it for like 2 weeks and see how it turned out. But now I love it so much actually.
Yeah, it's like one of those things with a lot of people because when we enter into phase two, for those of if you're just listening and you don't know our process, we do make people weigh themselves every day. And for a lot of people, like for their entire life, they've put their entire self-worth on the scale.
Hmm.
And if the scale is going down, they're having a good day. And if it's going up, they're having a shitty day. Right. Um, but all of a sudden, when you weigh yourself every day and you realize that fluctuations happen for a number of reasons, right? Like sleep, stress, how much sodium did you have in your meal? Like, did you just eat boiled seafood, right? Like, because that could have caused it, or alcohol. Like too much exercise can create inflammation and water retention. You start realizing there's all these things. Well, then all of a sudden, you know that the scale is just a data point. That's it. And so, like, what we're doing with your food now just becomes data, right? And it's just a giant science experiment over and over and over again that helps us get to our goals. But, like, I was telling someone today on a call, like, weighing and tracking your food, it's like a tool in your tool belt where you can pull it out when you want to use it. And when you don't need to, because if you do it long enough, like you know exactly what you need to eat. And if you get away from that, you can always come back to it.
Yeah, and I like that too. It feels like kind of comforting almost.
It is because like for someone like when you described earlier in the call, like growing up, how much you love food and touch it and taste it and look at it, like I I don't know about you, but like for someone like me, like I love to eat food and I love to eat it all the time. Okay. Like I just love food. I love talking about the next meal, the meal after that. I love planning things around food. I love cooking for people. Like that is one of my biggest joys is cooking meals for others. Like I love doing having people over the house and entertaining. And I like to invite people over while I cook, so like we can be social and they're like, oh, let me help. And I'm like, no, no, no. Just hang out. Just
Yeah,
hang.
I'm the same way. I'm like, you sit, I'll cook, but
Yeah,
hang out with me, but don't help me.
right, right. Exactly, exactly. And I love it. I get so much joy out of that, And if they want to wash the dishes, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, that's great.
Um,
We can do that.
so like for me, when I started weighing and tracking my food, like the biggest thing was like, oh my God, like look how much food I can eat. Because you know exactly the amount of fuel you need for your body for whatever phase you are in, and that amount of fuel changes with time as your body changes, and hopefully it's going up, right? Like our goal is always for you to try to eat more food, and for someone who has had issues like with emotional or mental or stress related to eating, if I say like, hey, the goal of us tracking is for you to maximize your food intake, it changes it a little bit. And you're like, wait, I get to
Yeah.
eat more?
Yeah. I know, and that is really great just to eat as much as you want, especially because before I really wouldn't eat, and now it's really, like, so comforting to wake up and be like, "Oh, I could have breakfast right now. I can eat." Because like, I had so many different sort of food rules in my mind that didn't really make any sense, like, just rolled over from life and
Yeah.
nonsense. And this sort of takes away all of them, and then, yeah, it just really encourages me to eat
I just
a
ate,
lot.
we got on this call, I just ate a mini size pack of M&Ms.
Yummy, I love
Yeah,
M&Ms.
they're fantastic. And I've been eating all the kids' Easter chocolate all week. But I've been
Oh, I
inputting,
love Easter
so it's all
candy.
good. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
it. Candy too. Um, awesome. So where do you feel like you are right now in your journey? You're 8 weeks in. Like, where do you feel you are?
Um, I feel like I'm much more comfortable with things now, and, um, I'm mostly just looking forward to, um I think I'm just looking forward to seeing how all of this sort of goes since we've only been doing the tracking for, I guess, since Wednesday.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm still feeling like pretty curious about it. Um, yeah, but like settling into it.
Yeah. So one of the things we do in our program, for those of you listening, is I always tell our clients to go ahead and message us when they are going out to eat if they want to help picking something from the menu. So Greer, you messaged me earlier today or yesterday. You're going out this coming Friday, is that right?
Whenever we didn't pick a date yet, but I've love to go out to dinner.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Hey, I love to go out to dinner. So you chose this place called, and I'm going to throw it out there, Roadside Coastal Kitchen in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina.
yeah.
Um, and so tell me a little about this. So like as we kind of decide what we're going to go over here on this menu, for everyone, like what I always tell people this, what do you want to accomplish when you go out to eat? Like what is your goal? Is it just to have a nice experience, or is it to have a nice experience while kind of staying on path, or stay more on path and like you're just there at the restaurant? Like what, tell me like what the ultimate outcome you would like to happen from it.
Yeah, well, I feel like that's part of what, like, makes it complicated for me. So it's, like, truly just being social.
Yeah.
It's just, like, a fun way to hang out, and in Charleston, that's the culture. It's like you go out and you drink or you eat. Um, so it's just, like, an opportunity for me to hang out with my friends.
Okay.
Um, and so then it's just like when I was recently traveling, like, it's just for fun. So that's when I'm always kind of like, do I try to make it something where I'm like staying on track, or am I just like a free for all, not caring, which is what my vacation was. But yeah. So I feel confused, like what you do when you go out to eat.
Yeah, so I tell people it depends on the outcome you want, you know. For
Mhm.
me, like a good me personally, a good food experience is I enjoy the food I eat, but then 15, 20 minutes later when I'm done, I still feel good. Like I don't
Yeah.
like to eat something and then it was so out of whack that I feel terrible later. Like that that kind of ruins the experience for me. Um
Yeah.
so the other things that like it depends on when we're choosing things, right? It's like what is the frequency that we're going out? Is this just like you said, a social experience, or is it like a true food experience, right? Because like if I'm going to a Michelin star restaurant, right, all the rules are getting thrown out, Greer.
Yeah.
You know, we are not, I'm not trying to like set any parameters on um any other outcome or goal other than I want to have the most amazing food experience ever.
Right.
But that's not this.
And I understand that, and that was, like, my trip to LA. I was like, "I'm gonna eat at every single bakery, and I'm gonna go to all these restaurants that I've been stalking for a while from across the country and, like, go all out for sure." But when I'm in Charleston and I just wanna hang out with friends,
Yeah.
it's like that's why, and I love burgers and fries so much. It's my favorite thing to eat. That's what I wanna eat.
So here's the big thing about burgers and fries, right? And I'm gonna throw this out there because it's when you cook burgers enough at home and you are weighing the ground beef and you're looking at all the parameters of, what goes into that meal, like one thing you notice is the fat content is high, right? And there is no way any restaurant is using anything other than like 85-15 ground beef or 80-20, right? Like they're not using
Yeah,
90 cents or
yeah.
95. Like it's not happening because the higher the fat content, the better it's going to taste.
Mhm.
And it's
Yeah.
not the macro cafe, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a diner so that you can have a good experience and taste food, and that's what the outcome is. So
Yeah.
that's like one of the things with burgers and fries, right? So like if we understand that we really enjoy hamburgers and we want that, okay? One of the things you could do ahead of time, Greer, before going to this restaurant is plugging in with like, you know, I guess most burgers are what? They're not half a pound. They're like 4 ounces.
Yeah. Well, but then I always get a double patty,
Okay.
so
So you need to figure out what a double patty is. If you get the weight and you could plug in 85-15 into
Mhm.
um My Fitness Pal, you could have a good idea of what your fat content would be for that burger. You could also guesstimate some fries, throw that in there, and then if you know that that's what you want, you plan your entire day around the fat content of that meal. And I say
Mhm.
that because, you know, for those of you sitting at home, I say this all the time. I'm gonna say it again. There are 4 calories every carb, 4 calories every protein, 9 calories to every fat gram. So we know that if it's high in fat, that it's going to be calorically dense, right? There's going to be a lot of calories in that meal. And it's real easy to have a 1500, 1600 dinner with burger and fries. 1600
Mhm.
calorie dinner. Like that's super easy, right? So what are some options we could take to make that a little bit better? The first one is maybe going a single patty, Greer. Okay. That's the
I know.
first one. The second one would be don't get cheese. No, you can, right? Like, you can, again, like, if we are going for ultimate taste here, I go cheese, obviously, it's gonna be awesome, okay, with the burger, maybe a single patty instead of double, but then, like, maybe we don't eat all our fries. Maybe we take half our fries, right?
Mhm.
The other thing you can do with that is, and this is a good rule of thumb, is you could ask the waiter to take your meal, okay, okay, cut it in half, box half of it to you, bring that out at the end of the meal, and just serve you half.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying too, like, if it is just social, then yeah,
Like,
just
if this isn't the best burger you're ever gonna have in your life, then, you know, we want something to snack on that we like, that we taste good, and at the same time, not below our goals.
yeah, because I was like, "Oh, I love burgers and fries," and I was like, "Maybe I should get a salad instead," but then I feel like whenever you eat salads out, they're, like, also so high in fat because of the dressing, which I love.
Yeah, so here's what you do. You order your dressing on the side.
Mhm.
I do that all the time. Like, when I order pizza, I always get a Caesar salad with grilled chicken breast.
Mhm.
And the reason why is because pizza hardly has any protein. So it's
Yeah.
not a well-balanced meal, and by hardly, I mean hardly. Like, it's tiny, like, the protein's coming from the cheese and, like, the pepperoni, which there's such a tiny amount in the pepper and, there's, like, what, 10 grams of pepperoni on the pizza, you know?
Yeah, it's so sad.
It's so sad. Um, so what I try to do is fill up on my protein with my salad, and then just have a couple slices of pizza. Because if I don't eat that salad with the protein, I'm going to be so hungry. I'm going to eat half a pizza, if not more, and then like
Mhm.
eat myself later.
Yeah.
So I always get like a salad, like you said, in that type of situation, and go double protein. So in this option, I'm looking at your menu here, and they do have a Caesar salad that you can get chicken or shrimp. In this case, shrimp is a ton of bang for your buck when it comes from protein,
Yeah.
more so than chicken. So like that would be a good option. It's different than your normal chicken Caesar salad, right? You can get your dressing on the side. You can add a little on or dip. Like I dip my fork in the dressing and then grab
Yeah.
salad and eat it like that. And again, I'm not trying to have my best salad experience ever, but I want something that tastes good that can still kind of fit into my goals.
Yeah. So you can hang.
Yeah, because I'm looking at some other stuff. They have like this coal roasted beet salad that looks delicious. Um, they use a balsamic dressing, which is going to be lesser in fat than a more
Mhm.
oil-based dressing because it's a vinegar-based dressing. Um, Mixed greens sounds good. Oranges, spice nuts, could increase the fat content. And then they have a goat cheese mousse, which sounds delicious, but it's gonna kick that fat content up, right? Um, and so there's
Yeah.
all different ways. Like they have a kale, chickpea, lemon dress, and parmesan salad that actually sounds really good. Again, I would get the dressing on the side and then ask them, could I add a chicken breast to that?
Yeah.
They're gonna let you do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
They have a half chicken, which would be a good option. Um, I mean, I see what you're saying. The shrimp and chorizo burger looks great.
I know.
And maybe that is something to try. Like, and so like as I look at this menu, like they have a fish of the day, which comes with rice, roasted fennel and tomatoes. That looks pretty good. Um,
Mhm.
that's something you could consider. And then just try to go for heavy on veggies. They have some side veggie dishes you could get. Um, I got some collard greens, roasted
Yeah.
carrots,
I
you
know.
know.
I think it's just like, yeah, I think that's really great what you said, like thinking about what you're wanting from it. Like if I'm just wanting to hang out with a friend or if I'm like really needing to have the most delicious meal. Like
Yeah,
if I'm like really wanting a delicious giant burger and fries.
yeah, and look, if that's the case, go for it, right? Like you might look at this menu and that this menu does look appetizing, and I kind of want to go there. Uh, and so like I might look at that and be like, look, my goal for this week is to knock this meal out the park, have whatever I want there. And so breakfast and lunch is going to be to plan accordingly, right? Where it might be a low calorie breakfast. I might even consider fasting just so I can scoot my calories to the back end of the day, because we can get through the morning more so than we can get through the evening and on a fast, right? Um, and so we could do that. Lunch we're looking at something pretty lean, in protein, low fat, avoid starchy carbs, more of like roasted vegetables or something like that. Leafy greens somewhere up in there, and then kill it for dinner. And like I tell people this all the time, like we give people protein targets, carbohydrate targets, and fat targets, but if we are in certain phases of what we're trying to accomplish. So, like someone with weight loss, which that's not really your thing, right? But for someone with weight loss, if we're lower in protein one day, but we stay under our caloric threshold, we're fine. Like it's
Mhm.
one day,
Right. Yeah. Which
it's
is
one day,
fine.
right?
Yeah.
If it's something you do 3 times a week, well, we need to have a talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once a week, we can survive. We'll be okay, especially if you're making choices that keep you below your calories for the day.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. That is helpful. Um, it's just like a different way to approach it.
Yeah, and look, I tell people this all the time. Like, I want you to enjoy food. Like,
Hmm.
your nutrition shouldn't feel like handcuffs.
Hmm. Well, it feels like the opposite. It feels like the most like free that like I, oh, but personally have allowed myself to be with food.
That's awesome.
Um, yeah, which is like not what I thought it would be, which is great.
It's a lot about changing our mindset about how we think about it.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot changing the mindset and just thinking about it differently and like actually having goals too.
So, weird question, and it may not come. It might come up in like a couple of months. Okay, you might think about this. Has anything you learned in the past 8 weeks filtered into or like translated into work at all?
Um, well, like making myself take a break, like things like that.
No,
Do
no,
you
no,
mean?
no. I mean, like, has it affected the way uh you operate with food at work at all?
Oh, I don't think so right now. It's weird. I'm like so black and white with like how I feed myself versus how I look at the bakery. Because also again, I care a lot about the ingredients and I care a lot about like people feeling good after they eat with us. Um, but I also like want it to be delicious. So I
Right.
don't think about like, oh, that's too much fat. I'm like, oh yeah, bring on the fat.
So here, I got your third business idea, Greer. I'm gonna throw it out to you out here in public because no one else is gonna do it. I had thought about doing this, but I just have too much shit on my plate. Is like creating a cafe that has like all the macronutrients planned out for you, weighed everything, where it's like a QR code where you order it and like you can scan it into MyFitnessPal.
Yeah,
But
that
it's
sounds glorious.
made for you there with tender love and care.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll think about it for I'll
Yeah,
make a
3
business
years from
plan.
now. All right, Greer, I appreciate you doing this with me. In terms of your nutrition, like we talked about doing this as kind of like a mini check-in because we'll talk again on Friday. Um, do you have any questions about this upcoming week, the past week?
No, I'm mostly excited just to see sort of how it goes these next few weeks. I'm like really into my fitness pal. I think it's really fun. It's just like this little computer that's like guiding me and I love it.
Yeah, it's cool. I enjoy it too. So I check it all day.
Yeah, it's really great. I'm like, do I want to eat this? Let me see. Yeah, and it like totally changes my mindset too because I'm like, well, I actually don't want to eat that cookie because it doesn't have any protein and it's not going to set me up for like feeling good or like performing well. So it like really does change my mindset to like now taking care of myself instead of just like eating cookies and biscuits all day.
That's what's next for me, some protein cookies.
Yeah, yeah, protein cookies.
Yeah, man. All right, Greer, thank you. I appreciate it. And where can everyone find your bakeries on Instagram?
Uh, the Harbinger is the first one, and then the second one is Harkin Cafe.
Awesome, awesome. And Greer, you're on Instagram, right?
Yeah, I am. She's my name.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bradley. I appreciate it too. Sorry it was chaotic.
No, it's perfect. Bye.
Okay. Have a good night.